Good morning, good afternoon, greetings and salutations. Sorry I'm not there today, but we'll do it this way, so it's going to be good. You should be opened up to your notes. If you're not there already, you're going to want to open up two separate windows so that you can have this on one screen and be filling out your rest of your Section 4 notes on the other screen. So yesterday we talked about kind of establishing some new borders, as you can see on this map here, as well as that Missouri Compromise line that was supposed to solve the slavery problem. Doesn't really. Talked about the election of Andrew Jackson, right? And you guys just got done hopefully going over that web hunt and the information that you needed on that. Continuing on with Andrew Jackson, one of the things that he's most known for are his Indian removal policies, right? And so your first blank that you have on there is this great quote that I love from this great American scholar, just a great human in general, really. And that's this idea that a little bit of our history has a lot of poison in it. What that's getting at is this idea that we've got this great American history that we should be proud of, all these wonderful things that we've done, fought on the right side of wars and sent a man to the moon and civil rights movement, all of that stuff. But there's these little spots in there where we've made some pretty major mistakes, right? Slavery being one of those major mistakes. Without doubt, kind of on that same par is our treatment of Native Americans as well. And so I think that's a really great quote to start things off. And that great American scholar that gave you that quote, you're going to want to type this in because this is important, is Dave Matthews, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Great American scholar, just great American in general. Go ahead and look to your right, admire the poster. Best songwriter ever. Anyway, here's what's going on when Jackson becomes president. He's looking west, and Jackson, being a Southerner himself, sees all this valuable farmland off to the south that he thinks would be better used by farmers rather than what he sees as, savages, natives, that sort of thing. So he urges Congress to pass what he calls the Indian Removal Act. And the idea of that is that we are going to take all natives that are living east of the Mississippi River and move them to new locations, Indian Territory, right? Which is basically going to be just the worst real estate that we can find that nobody wants today. We call it Oklahoma. Could be worse. He could have sent it to South Carolina. Anyway, this is a massive movement of people that don't want to leave their homes that are now being forced to do so at the hands of the U.S. government. Roughly, as you can see here, 50,000 different tribes, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Seminole, Fox, Sac, are forced to be removed from their homes at gunpoint at the hands of the U.S. government. So it's not like they get, time and comfortable transportation to do this. They show up and they say, you've got a night, take what you can carry, and everything else you got to leave behind. Any farms, any businesses that you may establish, that gets left behind, becomes property of the U.S. government. We don't have proper transportation for them. Most of them are on foot. There's not enough food. There's not enough medicine. There's not enough blankets and clothing for these people. Thousands of them will die in the process. There's no way to even keep track of how many, as they were forced to march hundreds of miles, simply don't survive the trip, whether it's from disease, exhaustion, starvation, dehydration. They're just dying in heaps on the side of the road. So if you're looking at this map here, this gives you an idea of kind of where they were coming from and where we removed them to. You can even see up here some of the Iowa tribes from our state were forced to be moved as well. So again, these are all just death marches that you're looking at being ordered by the U.S. government. The most well-known of that is going to be the removal of the Cherokee. And you can see that line right up here. And this gets known as the Trail of Tears. So the Cherokee story is a little different. The Cherokee tried to maintain their land by doing what Americans always complained that natives didn't do, and that was be more American. They cut their hair, they dressed like Americans, they learned English, they taught their kids American history, they opened up businesses and published newspapers, all of which was done in English, all in hopes that that would save their land, because that was the biggest complaint of Americans, was that these people just aren't like us, right? We can't live with those kinds of people. Well, now all of that shouldn't be a problem. And it's not until eventually gold gets discovered where they're located, and we decide that the Cherokee need to move. Anyway, Cherokee don't resort to war here. They stick with the sort of American tradition of doing things, and they sue. Their case eventually goes to the Supreme Court, right? And shockingly, the Supreme Court actually rules in favor of the Cherokee and allows them to keep their land. And so the Cherokee have a Supreme Court ruling in hand, and Andrew Jackson, basically being Andrew Jackson, says, move them anyway. Right? He says, when talking about the Chief Justice, John Marshall of the Supreme Court, says, well, Mr. Marshall has made his decision. Now let's see him enforce it, which is basically Jackson saying, okay, yes, you have a ruling, Cherokee, but I have an army, and I say that you have to be moved. This is a blatant violation of his oath of office. This is clearly an impeachable offense. He's breaking the law, but no one cares because white America wants that land. And so they're happy to see the natives go, and Jackson just gets away with it. And so after all of that, they're forced to be removed. 18,000 of them, roughly, have to be removed. They leave all of their stuff behind. It's roughly an 800-mile march. It takes months, and a fourth of them won't survive the trip. Roughly 4,500 of them are going to die from all those conditions that I just talked about. And again, that's why we call this the Trail of Tears. So again, just another example of just awful treatment of Native Americans at the hands of the U.S. government. And the Trail of Tears is definitely one of the worst that's out there. So, okay. So hopefully you got your notes all filled in. If there's any time left, I've told your sub, and I'm telling you now, find something to do, read a book, work on other things, something that doesn't involve talking. It's not going to get you in any trouble. I should be back tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Peace out.